lightning rounds, we're marking Breast Cancer Awareness Month with a brand new survey on women with the disease. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in her lifetime. The American Cancer Society found deaths for women from breast cancer continue to decline, but at a slower rate than previous years. More than 3.8 million women living in the United States have a history of breast cancer. CBS News medical contributor, that's Dr. David Agus, is a leading cancer specialist. He joins us to sort out all the numbers. Always good to have you here.
Thank you, Gail.
There's not a woman I know that gets a mammogram that when she goes in that doesn't say to herself before, is today the day, myself included. So I think there's good news and bad news in that the number of deaths from breast cancer are going down, but the number of women who are getting breast cancer is going up. Why is that?
Well, first of all, 40% decrease over the last 3 decades in breast cancer, that's great news. The problem is women are still dying of this horrible disease, and 1 in 8 women will get it. You know, we as a nation are getting larger, and we're having fewer children, both of which...
Why does that affect your breast cancer?
So being large or obese increases the rate of breast cancer, as does not having children increases the rate of breast cancer. Or having children later increases the rate also.
Why?
The actual reason, we don't know.
Yeah.
Hormone levels are different because of both of them, and it's somehow the hormonal milieu of us. One portends for more breast cancer and one portends for less. So these are important observations, and obviously as our norms in the country change, we're seeing that increase. We're getting a little bit better at treating it, though, and that's why the death rate is going down.
So what role do the treatment options play as to whether you survive breast cancer?
So first is diagnose it early. That's the most important thing.
Still, that's
but
the most important thing.
No question about it. But our treatments today have changed dramatically over the last decade. We now have the ability to target molecules or on switches within the breast cancer. And also, I think really importantly, we can block the don't eat me signal on the cancer, allowing your own immune system to attack the cancer. So chemotherapy's gotten better, together with molecularly targeted therapy and immunotherapy. There is real hope for actually continuing to lower the death rate.
You know, when Angelina Jolie did the BRCA gene testing, that was about 5-6 years ago, a lot of women followed suit and said, I'm going to do that too, based on her lead, which at the time you said was a really good idea. How has genetic testing changed since then?
You know, when she announced it in the New York Times in a piece, I wrote a companion piece. And what I wrote about it was that it was predatory practice and monopolistic because it was thousands of dollars, a ransom a woman had to pay to look at her own DNA. She literally had to pay $5,000 to look and see if she had this gene or not. Well, now that test is commonplace and less than $100 because the U.S. Supreme Court said you can no longer patent a gene in our country. So the test has been democratized, and every woman has a right to know what's inside her DNA.
Mm-hmm. But do you recommend that you get the test because the price has gone down?
No question about it. I mean, to me, knowledge is power. Man or woman should have this test, and you should know if you're at risk for this breast cancer, ovarian cancer, other cancers associated with these genes, and also whether your children or parents are at risk. Knowledge, to me, is really key to knowing what to do.
Why are black women more susceptible to higher rates of breast cancer?
It's a great question. And obviously the death rate...
7 to 1.
And the death rate is significantly higher in black women. So breast cancer death rate correlates to being obese, and there's a larger body mass index in general in black women. And in addition, the biology may be different, as well as access to care. The interesting thing is in the state of Massachusetts, where there's care for everybody, the death rates are similar between white women and black women. So I think there's a lesson there is that we have to increase access to care so we all get these remarkable advances that have happened in the treatment of breast cancer.
Thank you, Dr. David Agus. Always good to have him here.